Hello folks, my name is Aaron Crawford and welcome to my first ever YouTube channel known as Making People Aware. In this channel we're going to try to make everyone, and hopefully across the nation and the world, aware of different things. So without further ado, it's time to make people aware. Today I want to talk a little bit, and this is going to be a series of videos that I'm going to post over the next couple of days, so today is the first video set. And what I'm going to be talking about is disabilities. And the main disability I'm going to cover in these first several videos is going to be blindness and visual impairment, because I am visually impaired. I was born with a specific disease called retinitis pigmentosa, or RP, which is the deterioration of the cones of rods in one's eyes. The cones of rods, for those who don't know, are what control the light going into the eyes. Allowing them to dilate and everything, so that you would be able to better see in light and dark situations. You know, the great thing about this channel is if I'm wrong, then you guys can make me aware as well, and I can learn something new to be able to put into the channel. So, yeah. But the retina itself stays attached. There's no detachment of the retina. It's just the cones and rods in the eyes deteriorating. So, with that in mind, go over a few of the symptoms real quick, and hopefully by the end of this video I can give you guys some advice and help you guys be able to better yourselves as far as talking to some people. Excuse me. So, the symptoms of RP are lack of peripheral vision, or what we call tunnel vision, lack of depth perception, and I'll go over here a little bit as far as the different meanings of these words for people who don't know what they are. Just want to kind of get to the symptoms real quick. Color blindness. We have a tendency to be nearsighted. We have to sit up pretty close to the TV because, well, obviously, you know, that goes down with the depth perception. Sensitivity to light and no dark vision. Those are the main symptoms of RP. So with peripheral vision, for those who don't know, peripheral vision is what allows you to look straight forward at something, and then at times be able to see stuff out of the corners of your eyes. And depth perception is what allows you to be able to perceive how far away something is. So like when you're playing a video game and you're trying to jump across something, you, as a person with depth perception, can go ahead and be able to determine how far that jump is and be able to make it. With the color blindness, I mean, that's kind of self-explanatory. And the thing about people with RP, I think each person with RP is different. But for myself, RP is a matter of the color blindness is a matter of, for me, not being able to distinguish colors. Whereas most people with color blindness, they think yellow is green and green is yellow. So yeah. And like I said, those are the main symptoms of RP. And so one of the things I want to do with this channel is kind of give you guys some advice as far as how to better treat people with disabilities, or people in general, as I'm making you aware of this of these different things. And so one of the things that people have a tendency to do, I know personally, is they see that cane and they automatically think that's a blind person. I got news for you. Unless you personally know that person, there's no reason to automatically assume that, because there is a difference between being completely blind and being visually impaired. And those differences are that if somebody's completely blind, you're going to see that they're doing something a little differently than somebody with a visual impairment, such as being able to move around differently and stuff. Basically, somebody who's blind can't see at all, whereas somebody with a visual impairment has some sight left, enough to be able to get around or to be able to do things normally. as I like to put it at times. And so that way, you don't have to worry about running into things as much. I'm getting to a point where it's getting more and more difficult for me to get around. And so yeah, don't automatically assume somebody's blind when you see that cane. If you really want to know, go up and ask them, hey, are you fully blind or are you visually impaired? And then, hey, you just started a conversation to make a new friend. Because us as blind people, we're just, or visually impaired or disabled, whatever the case may be, we're no different from you guys. We do the same things you do. We walk down the same streets. You know, we play the same games. There's no reason for you to automatically look at a blind person or a disabled person and just write them off. Because that's where discrimination has its biggest play. And discrimination is so big. And that's something else I want to touch base on later. But it kind of ties in here to this video. Discrimination is so big for people with visual impairments in the workplace and you know, schools and so many different places. And it's not just employers or school friends or whatever the case may be. It's everyone in the world can have a tendency to discriminate, and it may not be outright towards a disabled person. It's just straight up, you know, giving somebody a dirty look or making comments. Like I've had somebody who actually made a comment at me when I was walking through a bus station, as if they personally knew me. Go, you're not blind, and, you know, and that's not fair to a person. You know, for me, I'm not blind, but you're assuming that that person isn't blind because they're or doesn't have a disability because of the fact that they're getting around better than most people with an impairment like that would get around. So yeah, just keep in mind there are so many things for people to be able to discriminate against when it comes to disabilities. And like I said, I'm going to get into an actual video on discrimination later on. But anyways, moving on. So the one thing that I want you to keep in mind is, like I said, we're not any different from you. We all have the same items in our houses, and you'll notice that we just have to use different items, and we're having to work harder at achieving the goals that you guys are achieving to be able to make it in the world, and that doesn't make us any lesser of a person. In fact, honestly, I think it makes us better people because of the fact that we're having to work harder. We can't take an easy route to be able to succeed. And so, and I'm not saying everybody in the world takes an easy route in order to succeed. I'm just saying there's quite a few people out there who do. And so, and also being visually impaired allows us to be able, or blind, allows us to see the world in a whole new light, to a point where so many people, they look at the outer exterior of a person and judge that person's personality based off of that particular person's looks, instead of actually stopping and getting to know them. And so that's kind of one of those things that we have to look at, is that as somebody with a disability like mine has the ability to see past those looks and be able to judge somebody's beauty not based on how they look, but how they act. And it gives us a good reason to make new friends, because then all we gotta do is walk up to a person and get to know them. Yeah, I'm running a little on time here, so I'm gonna try to wrap this up just a little bit. I want to leave you guys with some advice as well as remind you of the golden rule. The golden rule is that do unto others as you would have them do unto you. And this is a big deal, especially with disabilities, because again of the discrimination. It causes people with disabilities not want to make friends and to do things because of the fact that we're being treated poorly. We in turn treat others poorly. Particularly the person who's treating us that way. Secondly, is my advice. First off, these are two sayings that go way back. First off, don't judge a book by its cover. Like I said, as somebody who's visually impaired, I'm able to look past that cover and be able to meet people and stuff. And I would actually encourage you guys to do the same. And finally, I've only got a couple minutes left, so finally I want to just say, beauty is only skin deep. And again, that visual impairment allows me to look past the outer exterior and see somebody for who they are on the inside. And again, I want to kind of encourage you guys to do the same, because I guarantee you that cane is just an item. Stop and get to know somebody who's disabled, whether they be with a cane, with a guide dog of some sort, a wheelchair, crutches, whatever the case may be. Stop and get to know them, and don't judge them. And remember that beauty is only skin deep. And that's it for me. This has been Aaron Crawford. Remember to like if you like this video, and subscribe.